People, how are we? Hopefully we're all doing well. I'm Tom. Canelo versus Crawford was the talking point going into the the Crawford versus Madrimov card. It was a talking point, it was the focus point, it was the main sort of thing. What's next? Crawford versus Canelo. Did he show enough or do enough to really warrant that fight next? Well, the answer is no, if we're honest about it. Did you really watch that fight? Outside of the name, did you really watch that fight and think, yeah, this is a guy who could trouble Canelo, this is a guy who should be fighting Canelo? Because I certainly didn't. I saw a really competitive, good, high-level 154 fight. Doesn't mean that he should jump up to 168. And outside of the name, I don't think he really deserves it. Or at least, I don't think he earned it or showed it in that fight. Now, to be fair to Madrimov, he's a good fighter. Like, he's class. He's a really good fighter. And stylistically, he's very different to Canelo. But I just don't think anyone really wants the Crawford-Canelo fight anymore. The fight finished and they weren't talking about Canelo-Crawford anymore. They were talking about other fighters. And if they were talking about Canelo-Crawford, it was just to say that they don't really want to see it anymore. And so if anything, it's detracted from that fight. It's, taken away from it. I don't think that's a slate on Madrimov or even Crawford. Look, they're two unbelievable guys, and Crawford is a great guy, and so is Madrimov. Madrimov's a class fighter, and like I say, stylistically, very different to Canelo. I just don't think that want is quite there anymore, not like it was anyway. Part of me also wonders if Crawford actually wants that fight anymore. We heard him asked about that fight after the Madrimov fight, and he certainly responded differently to how he'd been responding all week. Now, again, I get that. Look, maybe he felt the weight of Madrimov and felt the size and I guess power of Madrimov more than he thought he would. And I also think he realised actually Madrimov didn't feel the weight and the size and the power of Crawford the way that perhaps Crawford felt he would, and that other fighters have. And you're thinking, if that's at 154, you're jumping up 2 more weight classes to get to a Canelo. Is that really advisable? Probably not, right? And I think that maybe shocked Crawford a bit, and maybe Crawford wants to spend a bit more time down the weight classes a bit, not really low, but just down the weight class a bit, sort of getting up to speed, getting up to weight, filling in more before jumping up again 2 weight classes, or even 1, and then just spending a bit more time filling out, getting used to the weight, getting used to his size, letting his power sort of catch up. I think that might be what he's looking at doing now. A bit of time doing that, a couple more fights, not warming up to Canelo, but just for him to get used to that size a bit more, fill out a bit more. I think that's probably a more advisable thing, a more advisable route to take anyway. I do see why Canelo's not too interested though. Like for Canelo, it's a lose-lose situation. You either beat the smaller guy like you were supposed to, like Adrian Molchala, or you lose to the smaller guy, which is embarrassing because you weren't supposed to do that. Now, I'm not saying it's embarrassing to lose to Crawford. Of course it's not. I still think Crawford could cause Canelo a lot of problems. It's Crawford, right? But yeah, it's a lose-lose for Canelo. You either lose to the smaller guy, which is embarrassing, or you beat the smaller guy like you were supposed to. Like, what's the point? You know what I mean? So I do see Canelo's point of view. I see why he's not so keen. I get that. Fair enough to him. Just to finish this off, I wanted to say that I don't think Crawford had a bad night at all. I think Crawford had a very good night against Errol Spence, and Errol Spence had a very bad night against Crawford, and perhaps that raised some very lofty expectations of Crawford, because it's important to remember he was going up a weight again and fighting one of the best guys at that weight class. It was never going to be a walkover. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think Crawford had a bad night. Madrimov just is really, really, really good. And let's give him his credits. Like, he did not have a bad night. And I think looking forward, he might not want the Canelo fight, he might not get the Canelo fight, but there's just not a lot left out there for him. You look at the names that Crawford could fight instead of Canelo, and there's not many, there's not an awful lot left he can do. So you let me know your thoughts, people, in the comment section down below. I look forward to reading them. Maybe I've missed the mark, maybe not, who knows. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching, people. Make sure you leave a like, a comment, subscribe, if you know how YouTube works. Peace.